Good morning everybody, it's Rebecca from Hedgerow Stitching. Today is Sunday the 4th of July and I'm here today to show you a few samplers that I've been working on, and I've got a tiny bit of haul. The first thing I'd like to say is a huge thank you to everybody who's been to my website, who's purchased charts, who's had a look, who's left positive comments. It means so much to me. I am so enjoying charting these samplers and getting them out there so you can enjoy them as well and stitch them. And I'm so pleased that the girls who stitch their samplers are having another light of day again. So it gives me a lot of joy. So I just want to say a huge thank you. I so appreciate it. I have just released a new sampler, and I'll show you the front page, which is Elizabeth Oldham. And Elizabeth finished her sampler in 1847. Unfortunately, I did purchase the sampler with the stain marks in, and when I took the sampler out of the frame, I couldn't do anything about these stain marks, and I really didn't want to wet clean it because I really don't know what I'm doing. So I just sort of dusted off the sampler and cleaned off all the sort of mould spores and bits of dust and dirt that it had accumulated over the years. I have listened to, I think it's the So What podcast recently, and that was, she was interviewing a lady who, or two ladies who conserve samplers, and they gave some very good tips. But however, I've left it well alone. So it doesn't obviously it distracts from the overall sort of image of the sampler, but it just shows its age and also what happens to these samplers. They're not all perfectly framed and hung on the wall for years and years. They, you know, probably used or framed without glass, and unfortunately accidents happen, as they do in the present day to all of us as well. Anyway, this is Elizabeth Oldham, and she's stitched with 11 colours. Now I pulled the colours again. Let me show you the original first. Okay, she's quite a big sampler. So this is Elizabeth Oldham. Ooh. It was pretty difficult to locate Elizabeth. I think she was born in Cambridge somewhere, I'm not too sure. But I did find Elizabeth working as, I think it's her, working as a servant in, I think she was a kitchen servant in the household of someone called Cecil Ives, and he was a major general in the army in the 1800s, and they lived in Suffolk. I have been in touch with Cecil Ives' cousin 3 times removed, Virginia, and she said that of all the family stories that they have of, it would be her grandfather's brother. There's no stories or any snippets about information of the household staff. I think she was one of about 20 staff, so you can imagine how busy the household was at that time. There is a portrait of Cecil Ives that hangs in the National Portrait Gallery. So he obviously was a very important soldier, and I think he has a famous brother or half-brother who was a philanthropist and an author. But this is Elizabeth. She has some nice colours, really nice colours in her sampler, and I'll show you those in a minute. She's got some alphabets. It's all cross stitch, and she has used a little bit of back stitch on some of the letters where she obviously wanted to get her letters in, but didn't have the correct spacing on, so she's used back stitch on the bottom line of the E, lowercase e. She's used back stitch along there, and I think on the S she's used back stitch instead of a full cross. but that's Elizabeth. And I'll pop up, the model was stitched on 40 count hog bristle from Fox and Rabbit, which is a lovely sampler colour. And these are the colours. So you've got Buckeye Scarlet, some pinks, sand, I think there's sanguine. So there's a mixture of Gentle Art, Weeks Dye Works and Classic Colour Works. Now I haven't got the model here to show you just at the moment, but that will be coming shortly. And because I had so much interest in this sampler, I've released her as it is, fully charted with all the charts and the colours, just at the moment without the model stitch. But obviously the model stitch is my copy of Elizabeth, and your copies will be the ones that you stitch if you so wish to. And I look forward to seeing you, all the people who've purchased Elizabeth. I look forward to seeing your progress or your finished samplers in a few months' time, or whenever you do them. And I'd really like to see them. If you want to use the hashtag Hedgerow Stitching or hashtag Elizabeth Oldham with the date of the sampler, I can follow you there. So that's my new release, Elizabeth. I am still trying to find some information about her. So if I do find anything extra, then I will put it up on my website. And for those of you who, just a little aside, talking about old samplers I've done, for those of you who bought Jane Thwaites, big thank you, that was my first chart. I'd like to show you a photograph of Elizabeth Whiteman, who's Jane's cousin, and she made a quilt or coverlet out of all her old dresses. And I recently purchased this book, Quilt Treasures, and it's a quite a thick, heavy book. It's really lovely if you like quilting, as a reference book, and it goes through all patterns and stitches, all different sorts of quilts. Now this pink and mustard quilt, oops, this one here, came up, one like this came up for auction recently, locally. I didn't purchase it, but it was a lovely quilt. And anyway, it's just a really, really nice book if you like quilting. And it's by the Quilters Guild Heritage Search, photographs by David Cripps. But anyway, I got this book first, and then Jane Thwaites' ancestor very kindly sent a picture of the quilt that Jane's cousin had made, and this was all pieces of her silk dresses that she had, and it's just beautiful. I'd really like to see it in present day, so I did say if they ever come to Cornwall, I'd love to meet up and see the quilt, so maybe that will happen later on. Anyway, that's just a quick aside. Pop that down there. Ones I'm working on at the moment, I'll show you my June book of days. This is June. Busy, busy, busy. I've been doing a lot of gardening and landscaping work at home, so my hands are a little sore. And I know I mentioned on my previous videos I had a bit of a hand problem with my right hand and my thumb and my index finger, and it's flared up again, so I haven't been doing much stitching. Anyway, this one I'm working on, Isa Hutchinson, Isa, I-S-A. And Isa is going to be stitched with Aberson wool threads. These are the Verosoir wools, because Isa stitched her sampler in wool. And these are the 3 colours I'm using currently. I'm just waiting for a blue and a green to come, and these are some of the other colours I picked. Now I got these from, in the UK, I got these from Gina B's Silkworks. She's online. I'll put the link down below in the description box for these wools, and I think they are £1.39 each, something like that. But I'm looking forward to stitching with these because I've not stitched with wool before. Now ISA, what I've done, I've charted ISA, but I have put the colours on from the back because they are so colourful. Oops. So this colour here, the blue and the purple, actually looks grey on the front. So I've chosen the colours from the back. And you can see how she carried her threads. And my friend very appropriately stated that you can tell, you know, that Isa was still a child when she stitched this. Anyway, this is Isa. She's cross-stitched over 2 linen threads, and she has a specialty stitch in her, and it is called the 2-sided Italian cross stitch, and it's in these large alphabet letters here. Now, the Italian cross stitch is new to me, and it's composed of a single cross stitch with 2 sides of stitches, also known as the arrowhead cross, or the Italian cross, or the Italian stitch. I just looked these details up on a site, which I'll link below. It's called pieceworkmagazine.com. So I'll link that below if you want to have a look on there. It explains a lot of specialty stitches. That's online. So the 2-sided Italian cross stitch originated in the 13th and 16th century, and it was a favourite of the Italians in the 16th century. And it's used a lot in something called Assisi embroidery. The stitch appears in the Jane Bostock sampler, which is dated 1598. And the Jane Bostock sampler is often referenced because it's a famous sampler which is in, I think it's the Victoria and Albert Museum, and it's often referenced because you can actually date. She put her date on it, so you can identify the stitches and the date that they were popular. Anyway, so Isa will be available shortly. I just need to find some linen that is suitable for her colours. Pop my notes down. And it will be exciting stitching with the wools. Okay, and my next sampler, so Isa's in process of being charted and stitched and stuff, but one I have finished and I will be releasing shortly is called Mary Brutnell, and Mary's sampler is dated 1839, and I love this little sampler. It's quite mucky, but it survived all this time. And I found Mary in the records, and I'm eagerly putting together her story. So Mary is also going to be stitched on the hog bristle, which I'll get this piece here. Quite a popular colour. And I've charted Mary in, these are same Classic Colourworks, Weeks Dye Works, and some Gentle Art. And these are the colours for Mary. It's got a nice pumpkin pie, that's a nice colour there. Oops. So, oh, that's a better show of the colours. And I have also charted her with DMC. I'm in the process at the moment of putting all my DMC onto thread drops, so they all look a little bit kinked because they've been on the little cards. But these are her colours in DMC. Lovely reds, Mary. So that's Mary Brucknell, and she will be released shortly. I've got quite a few other samplers in my collection, but I'm going through them slowly and having a lot of fun looking at colours and all sorts of things like that. My little bit of haul I found these beautiful notelet cards, and these are 10 notelets with envelopes. So these were the red and blue colourway, oh, red and green, sorry, and then they do them in a blue and red colourway. And I got these from the National Museum of Scotland. Really lovely note cards. If you're interested in those, I can recommend those. And they all come beautifully packaged from the museum. What else have I bought? Oh yes, I'm not sure if I've showed this before, but I bought the Harriet Goddard 1817 from Hands Across the Sea in their little ring binder format. This is a gorgeous sampler. I can't wait to start this one. So this is lovely, and I do like the small ones in the little ring binders. I think they're proving to be very popular. Quilting wise, let's have a look what I have been up to. I'm still doing my Dear Jane quilt, and this is progress so far. These are all ones I've cut out and I've got ready to sew together, but at the moment I've just completed my first block, and that was fun doing that one. I share it quickly because it's not perfect, but then quilting isn't supposed to be perfect. I think we worry too much about getting the lines straight and everything perfect and matching up, because years ago people's quilts didn't all match up. If you look at the old ones, you can see, you know, people just enjoyed quilting for quilting. Okay, and also I'm still working on Sarah's Revival quilt. This one's going to take me ages. You get blocks and 4 blocks together. So what I've been doing is cutting out the blocks, basting it onto the white background. These are all pinned on at the moment, and 4 of the same blocks form a 12-inch square together. And what I didn't realise is in my enthusiasm, I cut out the 10 by 10 squares, and it's actually supposed to be one big huge 12-inch square, so 20-inch square, sorry. So what I've done for the rest of them, I've cut out, I haven't cut these out yet, sorry, I've cut the templates out and just use these little clips to clip them onto the red, and then I've cut out the large squares and I've left those so I can easily applique those onto the large white squares. Gosh, that probably doesn't make sense at all, does it? Anyway, these are my Sarah's Revival quilt by Susan garment. So I'm working slowly on those as well. I've had a delivery of threads. These are my 103s that I'm trying out, and these are my Aurifil cotton threads and some normal cotton threads for my quilting. So I'm trying those, but look at those beautiful colours, aren't they gorgeous? And I think that's it, everybody. It was just a quick update, and a thank you to everybody who's purchased my charts and been to my website. You've all been so supportive, and it just makes me even more enthusiastic to produce more charts for you all. They're all PDFs at the moment. I don't have the funds to produce hard copy charts, but that will all come in time, hopefully, as long as people are still interested in stitching samplers. But hard copies are will be coming out at some stage. But thank you all again. I'm really grateful and I'm really pleased that you're interested in the little samplers that I've got in my collection. Okay, everybody, I hope you've all had a good weekend, because today is Sunday, and I wish you all a very good week of stitching, quilting, knitting, whatever your craft is, and I'll catch up again with you shortly. Okay, everybody, goodbye.